welcome back to Rise and Shine Las Vegas. And we are actually here at Rise and Shine Las Vegas with two amazing candidates. So do the honor to introduce the first one.
Yes, our first guest is a court-appointed arbitrator and judge pro tem and a Truancy Court Judge. She has tried over 50 cases to verdict and represented more than 1,000 clients. Anna Albertson is running for District Court Judge, Department 11.
And that's Miss Anna. Welcome to our show, Anna.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
And
it's really great to be here.
And on the far right here, he is a returnee guest here at social media shows. He's the Clark County Public Defender for over 10 years. Max Berkley is running for Las Vegas District Court Department 7.
Yeah, Justice Court.
Oh, Justice Court.
Yeah.
What did I say? That's Justice Court. I'm
Good.
sorry about that. I got that wrong. But anyways, welcome back, Max.
Thank you very much. It's great
And
to
I
be
see
back.
all your sign around town.
I appreciate. We're trying.
I saw Anna's on the way in.
Yes.
You drove past it on one on Sahara.
And you guys are actually not competing against each other. It's technically different department, correct? 11 and 7.
Yeah, I'll take this one. Different departments and also different levels of court. Anna's running for a district court position. I'm running for justice court, and then we're also running in different departments.
So what are the difference with the district and the justice? Can you guys tell us about that?
Sure. You want? I'll discuss district
Sure.
if you want. You can discuss justice. District court is a civil criminal court. About 75 to 80% of what goes on in district court are civil matters, usually worth more than $50,000, but always worth more than $15,000 to get into the court. We do deal with some criminal stuff in this court, but it's only stuff that gets bound up from the justice court, and I'll let Max take over there to discuss what goes on in justice court.
So when it comes to a criminal case, the first appearance typically for a case is in justice court. Justice court will handle misdemeanor trials, preliminary hearings. Justice court judge will set bail or decide on an OR motion. The early stages of a criminal case, potentially if it's a misdemeanor, all the way up to trial. And then we do, in justice court, there are some civil cases held. I believe right now there are 2 civil departments. There might be a 3rd civil department after November. And the civil cases are temporary protective orders, some landlord-tenant issues, housing issues, stuff like that. Typically in justice court, though, it's much higher percentage of criminal cases.
You have a follow-up question?
No, that's
Okay.
just clearing up
Well,
the two types of
That's
courts
of
in
course,
the
yes.
city.
Yeah. So and these are like local courts. How these local courts connected to the higher courts? What's the next level? That's
Sure.
what I meant.
The next level above us is, it depends on how you look at it, it's the appellate court. But stuff goes up to the Supreme Court and gets bound down to the appellate court. So I hate to say it, but it's a little confusing to describe to people outside of the legal field.
Yes.
I've gone into some groups and actually given lectures on these are the 5 courts that'll be on your ballot, and here's what each one of them does. Because essentially in the state of Nevada, we have these 5 levels of courts: Supreme Court, appellate court, district court, which is where I'm running, justice court, which is where Max is running, and muni court. And you could have all 5 of those on this upcoming ballot. I think I might have all 5 except for maybe muni court on my ballot because I live in the city of Las Vegas. But Max will not be on everybody's ballot in Clark County. So if you live in Henderson, if you live in North Las Vegas, if you live in Boulder City, you won't see Max on your ballot, but you will see me on your ballot because my race is all of the county, so it's a larger race. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense. I kind of like familiar with the different courts because I love what you call documentary films, and I watch all those big cases. So I'm kind of like familiar. So, but
She watches the crime dramas where the wife kills a husband.
Right?
Some on repeat.
It's funny, my wife watches the same ones.
She takes notes.
Yeah, gee, I know. Yeah.
Does the wife know?
Canceled our life
But Chris
insurance.
is a paralegal, so he is he is working with a lot of attorneys. So I know he's my actually attorney sometimes.
Well, family law falls under the district courts, correct?
Yes. Yeah. And you will have one family law court on your ballot because you'll have Department A on your ballot too. So there'll only be 4 district court positions on your ballot this time. There'll be 9, which I'm not running in. There'll be 11. Department 11, which I am running in, Department 17, which again is not my race, and then Department A. So you'll have 4 of the district court races on your ballot. I'm sorry, I don't know offhand exactly how many justice court races you'll have on your ballot, but I live in Las Vegas, so I have the justice court races on my ballot.
I believe there is Justice Court Department 6, which I'm not running in, Department 7, which I am running in, Department 10, and Department 13 as well. So I think there's also 4 Justice Court departments that'll be up in November. There were a few that were up a few months ago, but either they were unopposed or someone won outright in the primary.
So so on your department, are there certain community that have to vote on certain department, or anybody around Las Vegas? Like,
For me, anybody in Clark County can vote for me.
okay.
I'll be on Henderson ballots, Las Vegas ballots, Boulder
Oh,
City
that's
ballots, Summerlin ballots, Spring Valley, Sandy Valley.
So all around, yes.
Yeah, Moapa, Mesquite, and
And how about you?
Yeah, and it's a good question because a lot of times people hear department, they assume the city or the county is divided up, which
Yeah.
would make sense, but no. The answer is, as Anna said, she's going to be on every single ballot, countywide, and then for me, I will be on every ballot in the Las Vegas township. So if you have a Las Vegas address, I'm going to be on your ballot.
Yes, so yes, make sure you guys go out and cast your votes, guys. Vote the right candidate. So yeah, the right candidate, go and research about them. I did that for all day yesterday.
And these are nonpartisan races, so everybody can vote in our race. Because I've been asked, if I'm a Democrat, can I still vote in your race? If I'm a Republican, can I still vote in your race? It's a nonpartisan race, and it's the general, so it's not like the primary where we have a closed primary. The general, everybody can vote, nonpartisan. Please
Oh,
cast your vote. Don't lose your ability to vote. Vote by mail, vote in person. Vote early if you need to. Pick one of those ways that's going to work best for you, but don't lose your ability to vote because it's so important that everybody knows that everybody should be voting in this election. However they choose is the best method for them.
so the early voting
Started.
Yeah, so technically we've received our ballots already. The first day to early vote in person is on Saturday, and that's going to go on for about 2 weeks, and then election day is on November 8th.
November 8th, yes.
So yeah, we're 3 days away from being allowed to vote in person.
Yeah, so yeah, go ahead and vote. But anyways, do you have any more questions?
Yeah, and you're both looking to take over a judgeship, right? Neither one of you are a judge now?
Correct.
Correct.
That's correct, yes.
Okay, and who are you
I
running
mean, I work
against?
part-time now as a pro tem judge, so I already preside over short trials.
I see.
So if you want to know how I do as a judge, I can tell you I've never had an appeal or a writ filed on any of my decisions. And realistically, it's probably not because everybody loves my decisions. It's because I follow the law and I'm consistent across the board, regardless of who's in front of me. I think it's really important that we get judges that aren't swayed by what attorney appears in front of them or what party's appearing in front of them. But can stay strong and stay consistent and follow the law. I tell everybody that what you really need to know about me is I'm going to be loyal to the law, and I'm going to follow the law regardless of who appears in front of me. You might not always like my decisions, but you will understand them, and I will clarify them as much as I need to, as much as you need me to, in order for you to feel comfortable with the decision going forward.
Yep, that's all great stuff and very important. I think that's certainly one of the main qualities people should look for in a judge. And then in my race, it is an open seat, so the a judge that's been in office for several terms now is retiring. Her name is Karen Bennett-Herron. So it is an open seat, and myself and one other person are running to try to fill that spot. And I echo those same sentiments. I've been a public defender now for 11 years, so I am in justice court at least once or twice a week, and I have been for the entire 11-year period that I've been practicing. I am certainly comfortable in justice court. I have a pretty good idea what's going to come in front of me. I've got strong relationships with both my coworkers as well as the district attorney's office, so I'd be able to start early on, and I think do the job justice, because that's important. And Anna was saying, not only do you want somebody who is faithful to the law, and that being their main focus, but also somewhat the proper amount of background. And Anna was explaining a little bit about her background. For me, again, I've been doing this for 11 years, so I'm pretty comfortable at this point, and hope for your consideration.
Well, I have actually, I don't know how to cut off with all the things with my questions, but one of my questions that I written last night is, in your experience, what you've seen that you've seen in our judicial system, do you think? Oh no, okay. Do you think there is any inconsistencies? That's my I wrote down things and I'm reading it wrong way. Is there any inconsistencies?
That's a very good question.
You want to take it, or you want me to take it? Look, we have in the district court, there are 32 departments, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it doesn't. Your decisions don't sometimes vary depending on what department you're in front of. One of the things we really need to work on, and this is not true of every judge, but we need to make sure that we're electing judges that are going to be fair and impartial. We need to make sure we're electing judges with the right background and experience, in the actual courts in which we're electing them. I'm the only one in this race that's actually represented clients in this court and tried cases representing clients in this court, and that should resonate with people. I know you practice in family law, and it's important to get somebody that has experience in the specific court. We, as litigants that appear in court, as parties, they deserve better than someone learning on the job. Regardless of the connections of the person who can get that job, they deserve better than that, especially when you have qualified people that are running for the position. We can do that for them, and that's why I put my name on this race specifically, because my background and qualifications make this the most appropriate place for me to make good changes. Me and my husband are the parents of a little girl, and when we found out we were pregnant with a little girl, because I got pregnant later in life, I'm not a spring chicken to have a 3-year-old, we talked about what we do to make the world a better place for her, so that by the time she's old enough to start asking questions, and she's getting pretty close, we're doing what we can to make good changes. And my background, my experience, makes this role the best role for me to do when I'm looking at public service jobs. And I think we really need to think about, when we run for public service jobs, what we're qualified to do, what our background is appropriate for, so that we put ourselves in the right positions, so that we don't have people running for stuff just because they can, or because they can raise enough money to run for that. Because once you get in that job, you need to be able to do the job and do it well.
Yeah.
Agreed. No,
Yes.
It's nothing's more frustrating than I work in family law than having a judge that has no family law experience, and he doesn't like to do family law. So it's almost catch-22. You can only see him when he's not there. It's I appreciate the answer, and the fact that your background works well with the position you're running for. Max?
Sure, and I'll start there, and then I'll get to the original question. So, and I think that's the main reason I'm running for justice court, is because I have a exclusively criminal background. As Anna mentioned earlier, I didn't want to run for a position where 70-80% of the cases that would be coming in front of me were in an area that I'd never practiced in. Now, at some point, obviously, we all do it for the first time, and we learn, and we talk to different judges and different attorneys who can kind of guide us. But for the most part, in January, I can start, if I'm elected, in the Justice Court Department, feel very comfortable with what's going to come in front of me. If I started in district court, I would not be comfortable at all because 70-80% of the stuff I would have never seen before. So I do think that's important to make sure that you have some background or just area of expertise in the type of cases that are going to be in front of you. And then I'll answer quickly with inconsistencies. I think yes, and to a certain point, to a certain extent, it's inevitable. Yeah, you're going to have 16. We just created our 16th department in Justice Court. You're going to have 16 different personalities, 16 different judges who have different backgrounds, who may rule a little bit differently on what comes in front of them. That part's inevitable. I think, though, what's most important is that we have judges that are sensible, that are at least making well thought out decisions and are transparent about it. So even if there's a little bit of an inconsistency, at least the parties in front of them know why a judge is making the decision that he or she may be making.
And let me add to the inconsistency. Our judicial system continuously evolving. Not because I think I read that on my college. I had a law book in my college, so I know that we actually figure out law after law, different policies after policies. But my follow-up question about the inconsistency, though, is if you are elected in a position, what would you change? What would you improve? What do you think would you do better?
Okay, one of the issues, and this might not apply the same to Max, but in the Clark County District Court, we've got a backlog of civil cases right now. So the good part about electing someone like me with my civil litigation background is I can attack that head on and get some of those civil cases moving through. I know a lot of judges are already working really hard getting them moving through and getting those either resolved or getting them through to trial. I also have a background. I am a trained mediator. I went through the Saltman Center mediation training. So I also understand the benefit to getting parties to resolution and different methods and protocol for doing that. Because one of the roles of a district court judge, too, is they also sit as a settlement court judge on cases that are filed in other departments. So that's also an important role of the district court judge, especially now when we have this massive backlog as the courts have opened back up post-COVID. And I'm really honored to say that as a short trial judge, in my role as short trial judge, I was the judge who tried the first civil case when the county courts reopened. The first civil jury
The first
case.
in person?
The first in-person
Nice.
jury, yeah. Yeah, which is a really cool honor to have, It was a couple of years ago, but it was a very neat honor.
And you, Max?
So I would say for Justice Court, I'd like to see some more drug treatment facilities utilized here in town. I'll give a quick explanation. Typically, when someone pleads to a felony or a gross misdemeanor, it goes up to district court. And then district court, that's when if somebody is getting probation with some type of drug treatment, it's usually going to be a Salvation Army, a West Care, a Freedom House, some of the inpatient facilities here in Las Vegas. In Justice Court, you don't see it as much. Usually, if someone's going to enter a plea to a felony or gross misdemeanor, again, we're going to lose jurisdiction when it gets to the higher court. And then if they're pleading to a misdemeanor, usually we're not taking advantage of some of the drug treatment facilities here, and I'd like to attempt to do that. In the last year, I've toured Desert Parkway and Crossroads and some of the other facilities that I think that Justice Court could be utilizing a little bit more. So I'd like to see that improved upon.
That's amazing, yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. In your last 10 years as a criminal prosecutor, have you seen the docket grow? So are there more judges now?
Yes, To be fair, I'm actually a defense attorney,
Okay,
but the question is still just as applicable. And the answer is without a doubt. Without a doubt, there are district departments. We just created the 16th department that'll start in January, and the reason they did that is because of the growth of Las Vegas, and because cases, the quantity of cases is going up. No question that the population is growing. The amount of the individuals being arrested and going through the system are growing, and unfortunately, violent crime is up as well. So
Well, that was my next question. You see the ads for the governor race, and that's what it's almost exclusively about, is the increase in crime. But they don't really show you any statistics. They just tell you, hey, here's how we see it. So you never know how much weight to hold on those commercials. But you definitely see an increase in violent crime.
Yeah, I want to, and I think the statistic is something like it's the homicide rate in 2022 was up 48%, something
Wow.
like that. So yeah, unfortunately, it's been tough times, and part of it is just population growth, which is inevitable that crimes are going to go up. But obviously, during some difficult financial times, violent crimes typically increase as well.
So
Nope.
I just got a theft on my car the other night. So that's your
You got a what?
somebody actually break into my car and
Oh.
took all our expensive camera, by the way.
Oh no.
Oh.
Yeah, so that is into your department,
Uh,
right? No.
Yeah, so if hopefully they find the person who did it, and I assume they haven't yet, or you haven't been notified about
Yeah,
it.
my insurance, come on.
They should. Your church should definitely compensate. Joel, that's probably Anna probably knows more about that than I do. That part is the civil area, but yes, hopefully they find the person, and once the person is arrested and charged, that would be the first appearance would be in justice court.
Oh, okay, so that's well. I don't know. Do you have any more questions? I'm gonna go on the last questions.
Well, I wanted to ask her the same question. Has the the amount of judges grown in your department?
Well,
in
we've
the
got
district courts?
Sure, they've gone up to the 32 departments recently, and the numbers for 2021, they had 24,000 civil cases filed in the 32 departments, and I think it was a little bit less than 8,000 criminal cases that came up into the Clark County District Court. So those are your numbers for 2021. Have they gone up a little bit since 2020? Well, we've got COVID stuff to worry about, so
Right.
sometimes you have
Still
to go back
kind
a
of the
little
catch-up.
farther. Yeah, and I also think with statistics you have to always be a little careful, because depending on who's giving you those statistics, they oftentimes have a motive to point them one way or the
Right.
other. We're seeing all these ads right now, and I really wish they weren't so angry with these people just going after each other so hard, because at the end of the day, we are one country. We're one country that really is going to need to come together after November, and it would be nice to see us start to do that now and understand that we all need to come together and work as a team to get some of these problems solved. And I hope that voters are looking at people when they're electing them and thinking who's going to be able to work across the aisle sometimes, because your political party, your affiliations, they really need to take a back seat to getting our community to better places, to having people work together effectively, to having us solve problems. Some of the things we're looking at, to having us improve schools, to having us improve healthcare. These are things that we all need to work on together.
Yeah.
No, agreed. That's a good point. None of these ads say what they're gonna do.
No.
They all just attack the other side, and that's frustrating as a voter. I want to know what you're gonna do for us, for the American
Yep,
people,
Yeah.
and we don't get those answers.
Well, that's the reason why there's a Google search now. You go Google the person, make sure you get the legit website where you can find them.
Google.
Go on their website. What's your website? Where they
Sure,
get-
my website is annaalbertson.com. I'm also on Facebook, and I'm on Twitter, Albertson for Judge, and I'm on Instagram, and I'm on LinkedIn. And I encourage people to contact me on any one of those places. I'll also give my direct phone number, 702-659-2622. please call me with questions. Let me answer your questions. Let's talk. I do try to focus my campaign on as much as possible on me and on positive stuff. Because I think from there we can get to a better place and we can move to a place where we're working together to make good changes. My motto is let's make good changes together, and I genuinely mean that. I want to work with everybody. I want to talk to anybody that's willing to talk to me so that we can get to a better place, so we can get to a less acrimonious relationship with each other.
Yes, I love that.
Problem solvers.
Yes.
We need problem solvers.
Yes. And your website?
Thank you. My website is berkley4judge.com, and it's actually the number 4. So it's BERKLEY, number 4, judge.com. I'm also on Facebook, on Instagram, and my direct number is 702-838-3508. So any questions, please give me a call. I think we recognize we're running for public offices, so therefore, if you, as a member of the public, you have every right to call and ask us any questions that you've got before making a decision on who you want to support.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. And hey, vote for these 2 judges right here sitting down in our studio, because I reach out to a lot of politicians and I get 2 more by the way, but thank you so much for
Yes,
coming.
thank you very much for coming in.
Just remember our names. Albertson, like the grocery store, but no relationship. It's not Kroger yet, I don't think. So Albertson, very easy.
And then Max Berkley.
Berkley and Albertson.
And
Yes.
thank you both
Judge.
very much for having us.
Thank you. It was fun.
you.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Enjoyed hearing your opinions and
Yes,
your
and
platforms.
and we will be watching all those ballots, right? Yeah. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for staying with us. We have half of the show just finished yet. We have 2 more guests coming up, so please don't go away.
Traditional TV is going away. Hollywood is starting to fade. People are demanding real stories from real people. Our voices are now being heard in our own way. Podcasts, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok Live are becoming the norm. Internet TV has now reached the highest demand in human history. Social media shows is now the new media of the century.
Welcome to social media shows. Have you been watching social media shows recently? Of course you have. We have been live streaming for 4 years across social media platforms. We produce over 70 shows with over 1,000 episodes. In the process, we've helped over 100 creators realize their dreams and start their own show. We give platforms to promote your business. If you are an artist, if you have an event, if you are entrepreneurs, or if you have a story. If you haven't done it yet, go ahead and subscribe and follow us on major social media platforms. And if you have a great idea of a show, join us. Social media shows can help you produce and live stream your own show. Let us help you make your dream become a reality.
Hello, everyone. This is Joseph Skoda with Social Media Shows. Well, I thank all of you for your support through these last several years, and it's been a lot of fun. We've given people a voice they never had before. Now, Social Media Shows is always collaborating with our veterans to help them do things and help out the veterans who are struggling today. And we teamed up with GI Connections. GI Connections, connecting veterans with resources. So please consider helping and donating to this great cause because we're always doing things for veterans. So GI Connections, social media shows, and you is what makes the world a better place. Once again, Joseph Skoda, proud United States Air Force veteran.